Imagine paying over $700 a night at a resort that is heavily marketed to you as a five-star luxury escape.
Right, which is a lot of money,
It is. You arrive, you unpack, you are completely ready to relax.
naturally.
But then you find yourself setting your alarm for 6:00 a.m. just to fight for a spot on the beach.
Oh, yeah. The morning hustle.
And then later that evening, you're standing in a 45-minute line in this crowded hallway just to get dinner.
It sounds miserable.
Right. And yet, despite all of this specific resort is wildly popular. I mean, people come back year after year. So why?
Well, welcome to Resortia, everyone. We are the channel dedicated to helping you make smarter, more informed decisions before you book your next all-inclusive vacation.
Exactly. We look past the marketing gloss, to tell you what a property is actually like.
Right. How it operates and whether it's actually worth your hard-earned money.
And if you want honest, fluff-free resort reviews that protect your vacation budget, hit that subscribe button and like this video. We are here to help you travel smarter.
Absolutely. So today we are turning our focus entirely to the Riu Palace Antillas in Aruba.
Yeah, let's get right into it.
To set the stage, this is a 482-room, adult-only, all-inclusive resort located right on the famous Palm Beach.
Beautiful spot.
It is. It's a 24-hour operation, and it shares a physical bridge, a casino, and a spa with its larger, family-oriented sister property right next door, the Riu Palace Aruba.
But there is one specific amenity here that almost no other Aruba all-inclusive has.
Yeah, this is huge.
It is a massive differentiator, and it completely changes the demographic of who should actually book this resort.
We'll reveal what that is in a second, but first we really need to talk about the location and the overall atmosphere.
Definitely.
Because the term adults only is, well, I mean, it's one of the most misunderstood phrases in travel marketing.
It really is. I think a lot of people see adults only, and they immediately picture this tranquil, zen-like spa retreat.
Right, exactly.
You imagine quiet classical music playing, people reading books by the pool, a very hushed, sophisticated environment.
Which is the polar opposite of what you are getting at the Antillas.
Complete opposite.
Adults only here does not mean quiet seclusion. It means lively, highly social, and frankly, party adjacent.
High energy.
Very high energy.
Right.
And that amenity we just teased is the engine driving that energy. The resort features a full-scale, on-site Pacha nightclub.
And we really cannot overstate how rare that is for this island.
No, not at all.
Most all-inclusive resorts in Aruba, and honestly across a lot of the Caribbean, have pretty sleepy nightlife.
Yeah, you get a lobby bar that closes at midnight.
Right, maybe a guy playing acoustic guitar in the corner, or a poorly attended karaoke night on Thursdays.
Exactly. But here, you have a globally recognized nightclub brand right on the property.
Which is wild.
And it is open 6 nights a week, and your entry and your drinks are completely included in your room package.
It fundamentally changes the rhythm of the entire resort.
It really does.
When you have a built-in nightclub, people aren't winding down at 10:00 p.m. They are just gearing up.
Yeah, the social energy extends well into the early hours of the morning.
And if you connect this to the broader picture of the location, the appeal makes total sense. You are directly on the Palm Beach Strip.
That walkability factor is just huge.
Yeah, you don't need a rental car to have a good time here.
Not at all.
You can walk right out the front gates, and you are instantly surrounded by the best of Aruba. You've got independent restaurants, high-end shops.
Nearby casinos, too.
Right, and even the butterfly farm is just a short walk away. You have this enclosed party vibe if you want it, but you are never trapped on an isolated compound.
Yeah, you can go explore the strip, hit the club, and easily get back to your room.
But that central thesis, the price of high energy, brings us to a really important reality check.
Yeah, for sure.
Partying at the club and exploring the island is incredible, but eventually you do need to sleep.
Right. You need to shower, you need to recharge.
Exactly. So does a lively, high-traffic resort mean you're compromising on room quality? Because RIU very proudly calls this a five-star resort.
Yeah, let's analytically break down that star rating, because it is a constant source of confusion for travelers.
It really is.
REO markets the Antillas as a 5-star property. But if you look at independent aggregators, places like Expedia or Booking, it sits at a solid 4-star.
And there's a fascinating industry mechanic behind why that happens, right?
Yeah, absolutely. A 5-star rating and resort marketing isn't a universally regulated quality score. It's basically an amenity checklist.
Like, do they have 24-hour room service?
Yes. Do they have a spa, a gym, and multiple specialty dining options? Yes.
So because they check those operational boxes, they can legally market themselves as a five-star property.
Exactly. But when independent aggregators process thousands of actual guest reviews regarding the quality of those amenities, the algorithm pulls it down to a 4-star.
But right, because a true five-star resort offers completely frictionless, invisible service.
In immaculate, high-end structural finishes. The Antilles is realistically a mid to upper tier 4-star property.
That distinction is so important. Now, to their credit, they do heavily promote the fact that the rooms underwent a major renovation recently.
Around 2021 and 2022, yes.
They went in and modernized the spaces. They ripped out a lot of the old dated bathtubs and replaced them with these bright glass walk-in showers.
Which was a much-needed upgrade.
Definitely. They updated the balconies, they refreshed the furniture to give it a more contemporary feel, and they kept the signature RIU touch the in-room liquor dispensers.
Oh, people love those.
Right. Those four upside-down bottles of premium spirits mounted on the wall that are regularly restocked.
Those liquor dispensers are brilliant marketing,
Oh.
and they perfectly cater to that high-energy demographic we were just talking about.
But I know you have some thoughts on the overall success of this renovation.
I do, because I really have to push back on the idea that this is a fully modernized room experience.
Okay, let's hear it.
If they just did this massive renovation a couple of years ago, why are so many guests still constantly complaining about musty smells, worn-out carpets, and broken door frames?
That is a very fair point.
If I'm paying premium prices for a renovated room, I shouldn't be dealing with a balcony door lock that jams or a room that smells like a wet basement.
No, absolutely not. It comes down to the difference between a cosmetic skin and a structural skeleton.
Exactly.
This building has been around for a while. It actually used to be a Westin before RIU bought it, so the 2021 renovations were almost entirely cosmetic.
It's like buying a brand new, beautiful gaming PC, but plugging it into a 1990s dial-up internet connection.
Wow, that is the perfect analogy.
The hardware on the surface looks gorgeous, but the infrastructure piping it all through just can't handle a modern load.
Right, when you have an older structural footprint in a highly humid, salty Caribbean environment, legacy HVAC systems and older plumbing are just going to struggle.
And that's exactly where those musty smells or the occasional elevator outages come from. It's the bones of the building showing their age, even if the paint is new.
That completely frames the issue. It also brings up the issue of housekeeping consistency, which seems to be a recurring theme here.
Yeah, some days you get phenomenal, detail-oriented cleaning.
And other days, they might skip restocking your water bottles in the mini fridge or miss wiping down a surface.
It lacks the rigorous, standardized operational consistency you would demand from a true luxury resort.
And because it's an older footprint, they are constantly having to update and maintain it.
Which brings us to a highly time-sensitive warning for anyone watching this right now.
Yes, listen up to this part.
It is currently mid-July 2026. The sister property right next door, the Riu Palace Aruba, is finishing up a massive multi-phase renovation.
And that is expected to wrap up by July 31st, 2026.
Right. Because they share a physical footprint, a casino, and a bridge, that construction has been causing residual noise for guests at the Antilles.
This is a critical detail. If you are booking a last-minute trip for the next few weeks, you absolutely must request a room facing away from the construction zone.
Ask for a higher floor.
Yeah, and specifically ask to be placed away from the Riu Palace Aruba side of the tower and away from the nightclub side to protect your sleep.
All right, so the rooms have their structural quirks, but the in-room liquor dispensers and the 24-hour nature of the place definitely hint at a generous food and beverage program.
They do, yeah.
But does that generosity actually extend to the restaurants? Because getting a drink at 3:00 a.m. is one thing, but getting a high-quality steak at 7:00 p.m. is another.
Well, the 247 all-inclusive structure is undeniably one of the resort's biggest advantages.
Oh, for sure.
You can get snacks, room service, and drinks round the clock, which is perfect for a crowd that might be staying up late at the Pacha Club.
And the main buffet Atlantis is actually very strong.
It is. Buffets can be a massive weak point at some resorts, but here it consistently delivers.
Their carting stations are excellent, the steak options are surprisingly good, and for breakfast and lunch, it's a fantastic, reliable hub.
But then we get to dinner.
Right, dinner.
And this is where the operational model really starts to show its flaws. They have these specialty restaurants, Crystal for Asian fusion, Rimini for Italian, and a dedicated steakhouse.
And the food at these places is generally considered pretty good.
It is. The fatal flaw is how you actually get a table. They operate on a strict first-come, first-served basis with absolutely zero reservations allowed.
which is just wild for a resort of this size.
I compare this to waiting in a theme park line. Think about the psychology of this. You are on vacation.
You've spent all day in the sun.
You go back to your room, you take a shower, you get dressed up, and there is a formal dress code for these restaurants, by the way.
Right.
Then you walk downstairs only to realize you have to queue up in a hallway an hour before the restaurant even opens just to ensure you get a table.
And if you don't make the cut,
Mm.
you get turned away when they hit capacity.
Let's dive into the economics of why they do this, because it's not an accident.
Yeah, think about the food costs of a massive all-inclusive resort.
Mm.
Premium proteins like steak and seafood are their highest expenses.
Makes sense.
If they implemented a seamless app-based reservation system, every single guest would easily book a table at the steakhouse or the Italian place.
Oh,
But by using a physical first-come, first-served hallway queue, they introduce deliberate logistical friction.
so you're saying the inconvenience is intentional?
Yes, they know a significant percentage of guests will walk downstairs, look at a 45-minute line of people standing in a hallway, get frustrated, and just walk over to the main buffet.
Wow.
And the buffet is vastly cheaper for the resort to operate. It's literally a friction-based cost-saving measure.
That is fascinating, but as a traveler, I deeply resent that.
I don't blame you.
My time on vacation is incredibly valuable. I'm spending my hard-earned vacation budget to relax, not to act as a buffer for their food costs.
Exactly.
Standing in a hallway for an hour when I could be watching the sunset with a cocktail is a huge negative for me.
It transfers the logistical burden entirely onto you, the guest. It forces you to play a strategic game with your dinner plans instead of just relaxing.
And hey, if you're finding these insider heads-ups helpful, especially so you don't spend your hard-earned vacation standing in a dinner line, make sure to give this video a like and subscribe to Resortia.
Yes, please do. We want to save you from these exact kinds of headaches.
Because the reality is dinner isn't the only thing you have to wake up early or wait in line for at this resort.
Unfortunately, no.
That high energy and competition naturally spills over into the morning. If we move out to the beach and the pools, we see a very similar pattern of competition.
Which is such a shame because the beach itself is just spectacular.
It really is. You are on Palm Beach, and this specific stretch is incredible. It's exactly what you want when you picture an Aruba vacation.
Calm, clear, turquoise water.
There are no massive crashing waves. It's practically like a giant saltwater swimming pool. The sand is brilliant white.
It is arguably one of the best beach setups on the island, but that absolute perfection draws a massive crowd,
Right.
and that leads us to the morning reality. The palapa hustle.
The palapa hustle. I hate that this is a standard term now, but we really have to talk about it.
It's unavoidable.
The shade structures on the beach, the palapas and the loungers are complementary, which is great, but they are also first come, first served.
Right.
If you want a shaded spot, you are setting your alarm for 6 a.m., walking down to the beach in the dark, and throwing your towels and clips on a chair to claim it before 7 a.m.
Which is exhausting.
Why is this so bad here? Is this a failure of the Riu Palace Antillas management, or is this just the reality of staying on Palm Beach?
Well, it's a combination of macro geography and micro resort dynamics.
Okay, how so?
Palm Beach is historically the most densely populated hotel strip in Aruba. Space is at an absolute premium.
Right, you can't just invent more sand.
Exactly. You simply cannot build a bigger beach to accommodate the massive towers that line it. So the density of the beach itself is a macro issue for the island.
But on a micro level.
The Antilles has 482 rooms filled with a very active social guest base who all want to be in the center of the action.
Yeah.
The mathematical ratio of shaded palapas to actual guests simply doesn't allow for a leisurely 10:00 a.m. stroll to the beach if you expect to sit in the shade.
So if I lose the Plubba Hunger Games on the beach in the morning, what is the pool situation like? Can I just retreat there?
You can, but you'll find a similar dynamic. There is one large main pool and a smaller, highly crowded swim-up bar pool.
And I'm guessing they fill up fast.
By early afternoon, these pools hit capacity. And again, tying back to the vibe of the resort, it's a very social, energetic scene.
Lots of activities, right?
Oh yeah, there's loud music, there's Zumba, there are pool parties. It's incredibly fun if you want to mingle, but it is densely packed.
You are going to be interacting heavily with your fellow guests, and you are going to be interacting heavily with the staff as you navigate the bars and the crowded decks.
It sounds like there's a massive amount of pressure on the staff to keep this machine running.
There is. Between fighting for beach chairs, lining up for dinner, and ordering drinks at a packed swim-up bar, you really start to wonder how the service actually holds up.
Yeah, and there is a very clear divide here between the frontline staff and the management or issue resolution teams.
Interesting. Tell me about the frontline staff.
The frontline workers, the bartenders, the wait staff and the buffet, the entertainment crew, they are fantastic.
That's great to hear.
They are friendly, they hustle, and they are impressively multilingual, which is standard for Aruba, but still great to experience. They do an incredible job managing the sheer volume of guests.
But let me guess. The minute you need a systemic issue fixed, the machinery just grinds to a halt.
Precisely. When you have a complex structural issue, say, your room's air conditioning isn't working, or the elevator in your wing is down, the response time becomes sluggish.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The mechanism for fixing problems just doesn't move as fast as the bartender pouring your drink.
That actually makes me think about the tipping culture. It's an all-inclusive resort, so theoretically, everything is covered in the price you paid up front.
Theoretically, yes.
But from a purely practical standpoint, dealing with these crowds, do I need to bring a stack of cash?
Yes, you absolutely do.
Real?
While tipping is not strictly mandatory under their all-inclusive structure, discretionary tipping noticeably and immediately improves your service speed.
Because it's so busy.
Exactly. In a crowded environment where the bartender has 30 people waving at them at the swim-up bar, a few dollars here and there acts as a prioritization mechanic.
It ensures you get eye contact and a heavy pour much faster.
It's just the reality of a high-volume ecosystem.
Okay, so let's synthesize everything we've talked about so far. We have an absolutely incredible beach location.
Yep, stunning.
We have a genuine, high-energy nightlife scene with a full, included nightclub.
Very rare.
But we also have frustrating, friction-based lines for dinner, a 6.0 a.m. chair hustle on the beach, and older rooms that might feel a bit worn despite the cosmetic renovations.
That sums it up perfectly.
So what exactly is the price tag for this very specific mix of pros and cons?
Well, the rates fluctuate significantly, which is why context is so important here.
Right.
Depending on the season, you are looking at roughly $450 a night on the low end, going all the way up to $970 a night during peak times.
Wow, almost $1,000 a night.
Yeah. November is generally your cheapest window, while February is peak pricing, pushing that upper limit.
That is a massive financial spread. Now, if I'm paying closer to that $1,000 a night mark, I'm probably going to be looking at their Elite Club upgrade.
Which they push pretty hard.
And they do. They heavily market this premium tier online with the promise of exclusive access. Is it worth paying that extra $100 or $200 a night to try and escape the crowds we just talked about?
Analytically speaking, no. I strongly advise against the Elite Club upgrade here.
Really? Why?
What you are actually getting for that premium is a dedicated check-in desk, premium liquor in your room, a dedicated pool area, and an exclusive breakfast restaurant.
That sounds all right on paper.
It does, but here's why the math doesn't work. The exclusive breakfast setup actually has fewer options and feels more limited than the massive spread at the main Atlantis buffet.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Furthermore, the entire point of this resort is the social energy. You are paying a steep premium for marginal isolation in a resort where you are supposed to be mingling.
It kind of defeats the purpose.
Exactly. The standard junior suite with an ocean view offers the absolute best value for this property. Don't overpay for the Elite Club.
That is exactly the kind of insight that saves a vacation budget. Because those rates fluctuate so wildly between that November low and that February peak, you really have to do your homework.
You do.
We highly recommend checking the Expedia link we've put right down in the video description.
Yes, that's super helpful.
You can compare real-time prices for those Ocean View Junior Suites we just recommended, check availability for your specific dates, and most importantly, lock in a refundable rate if you're still on the fence.
It is the best way to protect yourself if prices drop or your plans change before your trip.
Having that refundable option is key, especially with a resort that has such defined strengths and such obvious weaknesses.
There really is.
Which means it is time for us to lay our cards on the table. Based on everything we know, who is this resort actually for and who needs to run the other way?
Let's start with who should absolutely book this right now.
Okay, lay it on me.
This property is ideal for couples. younger honeymooners, or friend groups who prioritize a central location above all else.
Makes sense.
If you want a genuine 24-hour all-inclusive where you can eat and drink at any hour, if you want a legitimate nightclub right on the property, and you want to be steps from the best, calmest water in Aruba, this is your spot.
You are knowingly trading polished, quiet luxury for high convenience and high energy.
Exactly.
And who should strongly avoid it? Because I think that demographic is just as important.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
If you are seeking a quiet, romantic, completely frictionless, or wellness-focused getaway, do not book the Riu Palace Antillas.
You skip it.
You will be miserable fighting for dinner reservations and listening to the afternoon pool party.
So where should they go instead?
For that demographic, you should be looking over at Eagle Beach, just down the road. Properties like Bukudi and Tara or the Manchibo Beach Resort are going to give you that curated, quiet luxury you are actually looking for.
Which brings us to the ultimate genuine debate. Knowing everything we know, would we personally book this?
That is the big question.
I'll go first. I would pass.
Really, just a hard pass.
Yeah, and it comes down entirely to the operational friction. I absolutely refuse to stand in a 45-minute line in a hallway to eat a steak on my vacation.
I completely understand that.
Time is the ultimate luxury for me. Waking up at 6:00 a.m. to claim a beach chair and queuing up at 6:00 p.m. just to get a table feels too much like a job. I want my vacation to be effortless.
I hear you on the friction, but I actually look at it slightly differently.
Okay, what's your take?
I certainly wouldn't book it for a restorative, quiet retreat. But if you set your expectations correctly, going in meaning you accept the mechanics of the resort, it works.
If you know what you're getting yourself into.
Exactly. If you accept that you're going to eat most of your dinners at the fantastic buffet to completely bypass those lines, it's fine.
True, the buffet is really good.
If you are going strictly for the gorgeous beach and you want to take full advantage of the nightlife and walkability, it delivers exactly what it promises.
It is a highly functional, fun machine, provided you know how to operate it.
It really is all about knowing exactly what you're buying before you swipe your credit card.
And that leaves us with a final question for you to consider.
Yeah, think about this.
Ultimately, you have to ask yourself what you value more on a Caribbean vacation. Is it having a completely frictionless, luxurious room experience where every logistical detail is managed for you?
Or is it having one of the best beaches in the world right outside your door?
Yeah.
With high energy, walkability, and a drink in your hand at 3:00 base AM.
Because at this price point in Aruba, you rarely get to have both.
That is the perfect note to end on.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us on Resortia today. We hope this helped you figure out if the Riu Palace Antillas is the right fit for your next trip.
Travel safe, travel smart, and we will see you in the next one.